Recently, I read a quote from Terry Patton, and this is what he had to say. Us alive today are the luckiest human beings that have ever lived, and the ones facing the most terrifying, wildest challenges. This is not just a deep paradox, but also an existential invitation to keep on waking up now, today. Terry Patton. So my word of the day today is about awareness and how we live our lives in awareness or not, and how we practice on our mat or not, and how we take it off our mat and out into our lives or not. And the way to become aware initially is to come into your body. So we have a nice little practice this morning which will keep us engaged and in our body for the next 45-50 minutes. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get to work. So as usual, we'll open with 3 ohms. Bring your hands together, close your eyes, turn your attention inwards, and be with your breath. Long, slow breath deep into your belly, and even longer, slower breath out. And again. And again. And we'll open now with 3 ohms. Exhale. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Inhale. Om. Open your eyes, release your hands, and come onto your hands and knees. Moving into cat-cow. Place your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Separate your knees hip-width apart. Exhale, round your back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lift your head, look up, sink down between your shoulder blades. Exhaling, rounding up. Inhaling, sinking down. Body following breath. Coming into your body this morning, notice the sensation of your hands on the floor, your knees on the floor, the tops of your feet on the floor. As you move up and down through your spine, noticing cool air on your skin. And coming back to a place of stillness, stretch your right leg behind you, lift it out behind you, flex and point it, lift your head, look up. Grip the floor with your fingertips, engage your quads, tighten your glutes. Noticing all that's arising out of awareness and sinking back into awareness. And switch legs. Lift your left leg out behind you, flex and point it. Lift your head, look up. Stretch your toes back behind you. Your head forward. Release that foot to the floor. Walk both knees back, one hand's pace. Turn your toes under, lift your hips up and float up into down dog. Hands wider than shoulders, grip the floor with your fingertips. Parallel your index fingers. Squeeze your upper arms towards each other, externally rotate them. Lifting your hips even higher, invite your heels to come to the floor. Line up the root of your second toe on both feet with the middle of your ankles. And come back. Use your breath as an anchor to be in your body right now. Bend your knees, lower gently all the way to the floor. And come and lie on your back. Moving into reclined lunge prep. Stretch your left leg out on the floor, bend your right knee and curl it into your chest. And then hug your knee in. Stretch through your left heel. Press the back of your left thigh into the floor. Press your lower back into the floor. Invite your shoulder blades on your back. Press your head into the floor. Lift your chin slightly. Drop into a place of being. And switch over onto the other side. Stretch your right leg out. Curl your left knee in. Hug your knee in. Press through your heel on your right leg. Press the back of your right thigh into the floor. Press your lower back into the floor. Your head into the floor. Bring your awareness to your breath. And now coming into a reclined child's pose, bring both knees into your chest and hug them in. And if you wish, you can just gently roll from side to side, waking up your spine, feeling how nice that feels. And from here, making our way into reclined lunge, or half happy baby as I like to call it. Stretch your left leg out. Catch your right foot with both hands and turn the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. Press the back of the left leg into the floor. Press your lower back into the floor. Draw down on your right foot. Or push up with your foot into your hands. Invite your shoulder blades onto your back. Notice all that's arising. Sometimes, lying on our back, it's easy to drift away in our thoughts. Allow your thoughts in, but treat them pretty much like clouds in the sky. Watch them come, watch them go, but don't get engaged in the story. And release your right foot to the floor, stretch it out. Curl your left knee in, clasp your foot, turn the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, draw down on the sole of the foot, push up with the sole of the foot into your hands, press through your left leg, press the back of your left thigh into the floor, your lower back into the floor, press your head into the floor. And now moving into full happy baby, curl your right knee in, clasp the outside edges of both feet with both hands, shins vertical, soles of feet parallel to the ceiling, drawing down on the soles of the feet, press your lower back into the floor, and come back to your breath. Lower your feet to the floor and make your way into down dog lunge. Come onto your hands and knees initially. Walk your knees back, turn your toes under, lift your hips up, stretch up. Step your right foot forward and bring it to the outside of your right hand towards the right edge of your mat. Walk your hands forward, drop your head, look back between your legs at your back foot. Right shin vertical. Press down with your right foot into the floor. Grip the floor with your fingertips. Back heel up to vertical. Engage your back leg, engage the quad. And switch legs. Move your front foot back, step your back foot forward towards the edge, left hand edge of your mat. Walk your hands forward, hands shoulder width apart, drop your head, look back towards your back foot, back heel vertical, engage your right leg, engage your quads, and coming back to a place that's simply here and now. Move your hands, float forward into plank. Feet can be together or hip width apart. Spread your fingers, grip the floor with your fingertips, engage your core, lift your gaze. And lower gently all the way to the floor. Stretch your legs out behind you. Stretch your arms behind you. Turn your palms up. Squeeze your heels together. Inhale, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Press your feet into the floor. Flare your toes. make your way into down dog. Lift your hips up. Feet together, more difficult. Feet inner hip width apart, more doable. Grip the floor at your fingertips. Externally rotate your upper arms. Lift your hips even higher. Invite your heels to come to the floor. Look at a point between your thumbs. Walk your feet forward and come into forward fold. Feet together, more difficult. Feet hip width apart, more doable. Allow your head to drop. You're going to have a slight bend in your knees or your legs straight, whatever feels right for you in your body today. Inhale, press down, stand up, and coming into mountain. Feet together. Press down equally with the four corners of your feet into the floor. Squeeze your shins in. Press your tailbone down, engage your core, and stretch from your hips to under your armpits. Broaden across your collarbones. Invite your shoulder blades to come down your back together. Stretch your arms down, stretch your fingers down, move your ears back, and you can stand with your eyes open or closed, but dropping into you, the only you there is, the most wonderful manifestation of life, right here, right now. And moving into power pose, lift your arms out in front of you, hands shoulder width apart. Invite the head of the arm bones to come back into the sockets. Feet together, more difficult. Feet inner hip width apart, more doable. Bend your knees, sink down, gaze straight ahead, back straight. Press down and stand up. Moving into cosmic abs, make your way to the floor. Sit down, bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips. Knees together, ankles together, shift your weight onto your right hip, arms out to the left. Start to bicycle your legs up and down, start to bicycle your arms up and down. Now really move your shoulders so that like you have belly dancer shoulders, and count 5. And don't forget to breathe. Switch over onto the other side. Keep the shoulders moving, keep the knees moving, keep the legs moving. And switch over onto the other side. And switch again. And release all to the floor. From here, we're making our way into reverse table. So spin around on your mat, walk your hands back behind you, spread your fingers, place your heels in front of your hips, outer hip width apart, press down with your feet into the floor, press down with your hands into the floor, lift your hips up as high as you can. Stretch your knees away from your upper armpits. If it helps, you could visualize a fire under your buttocks, and you have to lift your buttocks away from the fire as high as you can. release all the way back down into the floor. And we're coming into our leg lifts. So come and lie down on your back. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, bring your elbows into the side of your face, bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest. Inhale, stretch your legs up towards the ceiling, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Exhale, inhale, lower your legs to the floor, and exhale and bring them back up. And see if you can do 2 sets of 5. Knees to elbows, moving with your breath. And on your last one, lower your legs to the floor and make your way to standing. And moving into crescent, bring your hands together, reach up. Move your hips to the right, your torso to the left, be as sideways as possible. Inhale, come back up and switch over onto the other side. Inhale and come back up. Allow your arms to come down. Make your way to the back of the mat. Moving into high lunge. Place your hands on your hips. Step forward with attitude and intention with your right foot. Bend your front knee. Sink down. Lift your chest. Stretch your spine. Stretch your front knee away from your back heel. Lift your gaze. Lower your hands to the floor, switch through down dog, lift your hips up, lift your left leg up, step forward, torso upright, hands on hips, bend your front knee, lift the back of your back knee up, back heel vertical, lift your chest, stretch your spine, invite your shoulder blades onto their back, stretch your front knee away from your back heel. Lower your hands to the floor, making your way into plank pose. Step your left foot back. Float your shoulders over your wrists. Squeeze your legs together. Externally rotate your upper arms. Lift your hips. And lower knees, chest, chin all the way to the floor. I'm coming into topsy-turvy superhero. So I'm going to move back on my mat here. Stretching your, I'm going to move back even more. Now, stretch, lift your right arm off the floor. Lift your left leg off the floor. Press your right foot into the floor. Lift your right knee off the floor. Press the outside edge of your left hand into the floor. Lift your left elbow off the floor. Lift your head, look up. And switch over onto the other side, opposite arm, opposite leg. release. And then a right arm, right leg off the floor, same side. And the other side, left arm, left leg off the floor. And release. And make your way up to mountain again. Feet together or inner hip width apart. Root down firmly into the floor. Squeeze your shins in. Squeeze your inner thighs. Lengthen from your hips to your armpits. Move your ears back. Stretch your arms down. Fingers down. Broaden across your collarbones. Dropping into a place of deep stillness. And making our way into tree pose. Shift your weight onto your left foot and lift your right foot and place your ankle against your upper inner thigh. You could also place your foot against your ankle, your shin, or your upper inner thigh. Bring your hands as if in prayer. Root down with the standing leg into the floor. Stay here more doable. Or inhale, lift your arms overhead, press your palms together, stretch up. Be like a tree. And gently release and switch over onto the other side. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Lift your left foot and place the sole of the foot against the upper inner thigh. Bring your hands as if in prayer. Root down with the standing leg into the floor. Square your hips towards the long edge of your mat. Inhale, lift your arms up or keep them at your heart. And gently release. And moving into Warrior Two. Step your feet wide apart on the mat. Turn your right foot out. Line up the root of the second toe with the middle of your ankle on both feet. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Turn your right foot out. Bend your front knee, sink down. Look out over your right hand arm. Lift your chest, stretch your spine. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Engage your quad. Draw your right hip underneath. And switch sides. Turn your right foot in, pivot it in. Turn your left foot out. Make sure your foundation is set up correctly. Check your toes. Bend your front knee, sink down. Look out over your left hand arm. Move your front knee out in line with the root of your second toe. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Engage your quad and your back leg. Draw your left hip underneath, your right hip back, right ribs back. Press down and stand up. And switching into Trikonasana. Turn your left foot in, turn your right foot out. You can use a block for this if you wish, if you have blocks. Lift your arms up, look out over your right hand arm, lean forward and place your hand either on a block or on the floor. Lift your top arm up, press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Roll your right hip underneath. Engage your quads in both legs. back up and switch over onto the other side. Right foot in, left foot out. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Inhale, stretch out, lean forward, place your hand on the floor, lift your top arm up to vertical. And again, careful with your feet, make sure the root of your second toe is lining up with the middle of both ankles. Press the outside edge of your foot into the floor. Engage your quad and both legs. Move your right hip back. Draw your left hip underneath. Gaze straight ahead. Inhale, press down, stand up, step your feet together. From here, moving into reverse mudra, so turn and face the front of your mat. Inhale, lift your arms up, step your right foot forward, keep your back heel on the floor. Exhale, hinge forward, place your hands on the floor, line up your fingernails with your toenails. And again, if you need blocks here, put your hands on blocks. Lift your head, look up. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward. Turn your sit bones up. Inhale, press down, stand up and switch feet. Front foot back, back foot forward. Lift your arms up. Inhale, exhale. Hinge forward. Place your hands either side of your front foot. Lift your head, look up. And press down and stand up, moving into half moon. And for this I like to use a block. So turn and face the short end of your mat. Step forward with your right foot, bend your right knee. Inhale, lift your right arm up. Exhale, lean forward, place your hand on the block. At the same time, lift your back leg out behind you. For the moment, place your left hand on your hip. Then turn the outside edge of your foot up towards the ceiling. Roll your left hip back, your left ribs back. Lift your top arm up and look in front of you. Engage the standing foot and leg. And release. And move your block over to the other side of your mat. Step back. Lift your left arm up. Step forward with your left foot. Bend your knee. Lean forward. Place your left hand on the block. Lift your right leg out behind you. Stack your right hip on top of your left hip. Lift your left arm up to vertical and look out in front of you. And release and put your block off to one side. Moving into power pose, feet together or inner hip width apart. Clasp your hands behind your back and move your hands up onto the small of your back. Bend your knees, lower your hips, round your back. Bring your forehead to your knees. Keeping your elbows bent, lift them off your back. Then stretch your knuckles up towards the ceiling. Bring your arms to vertical or beyond. Sit back in your throne. Inhale, press down, stand up. And coming into Utkatasana. Inhale, lift your arms up. Bend your knees, sinking down. Inhale, press down, stand up. Moving into eagle pose. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Lift your right leg, wrap it around the left. Lift the left arm and wrap the right underneath. Hug the midline. Square your hips towards the front of the mat, or the long edge of the mat in this case. Bend the standing leg, sinking down. Squeeze your elbows into your chest into your spine. Engage your core. Lift your gaze. Invite your shoulder blades to come onto the back. And press down and stand up and switch over onto the other leg. Shift your weight onto your right foot and lift your left leg and swing it around the front of the right. Lift the right arm, wrap the left underneath, hug the midline. Back straight, sinking down. Squeeze your elbows into your chest into your spine, shoulders onto your back. Inhale, press down, stand up. Bring both feet into the floor, come into Tadasana and notice awareness in your body today. The thing about awareness, we never have to look for it, it's always there. We don't realise we have access to it. So it's a bit like silence. Silence is always in our lives, it's only broken by sound. So awareness is always with us, and it's only broken by the thoughts and emotions and feelings that are in all of our individual heads. Everything arises out of awareness and sinks back into awareness. And being aware today at the times that are in it, and trying to keep our awareness rather than panicking by forecasting into the future of what may or may not happen. That's the trick, and that's the point of doing yoga, to be present right here, right now. Moving into Warrior 3, walk to the back of your mats. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Bend your right knee, place your hands on the floor, lift your head, look up. Point your back knee at the floor. And then level across your buttocks so that your left hip is not higher than your right hip. Engage your right leg. Stretch from your hips to your armpits. And switch over onto the other side. Lower your left leg, press down, stand up. Walk back a little, lift your arms up. Step forward with your left leg. Bend your left knee, lean forward, place your hands on the floor, lift your right leg up behind you, flex and point it. And then again, lowering that right hip, pointing your back knee at the floor. And lower that leg to the floor, press down, stand up. And place your hands on your hips and coming into standing camel. Feet together or hip width apart. Root down with your feet firmly into the floor. Squeeze your shins in, your inner thighs. Stretch from your hips to under your armpits. Invite your shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your chest. Move your hips forward. Tighten your glutes. And go back as far as you dare. Inhale and come all the way up. Allow your arms to come down, noticing the sensations in your body. To be aware, we must be in our bodies, so just keep noticing every sensation. Those the physical, the emotional, the mental, the thoughts and the feelings. And now, moving into down dog. and moving into pigeon. Walk your right knee forward, bring it towards the outside edge of your right wrist, invite your right foot to come forward, walk your back leg back behind you, lower down onto your elbows, press your elbows into the floor, press the back of your left foot into the floor, lift your knee off the floor or keep it on the floor, lift your gaze. Press the outside edge of your front foot in the floor, lift your front ankle off the floor. And just roll down onto your right hip, place your right hand on the floor, bend your back knee, clasp your ankle, bring your heel into your hip, lift your chest, stretch your spine, look up. And release, switch through down dog. And bring your left knee forward, walk your back leg way back behind you, lower down onto your elbows, pigeon on the left hand side, press your right foot into the floor, lift your knee off the floor, press your front ankle into the floor, slightly lift your, press the side of your front foot into the floor, slightly lift your ankle off the floor, lift your head. Release your knee to the floor, roll onto your left hip, come up onto your left hand, bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand, bring your ankle into your hip, lift your chest, stretch your spine. And release, moving into bow pose, lie on your back, lie on your belly, lower to the floor, bend your knees, clasp the outside edge of your ankles with both feet, with both hands even, lift your knees off the floor, lift your chest, stretch up, use your legs to lift your legs. Gently release to the floor and make your way into down dog. Lift your hips up. We're going to make our way into wild thing. So pivot your ankles to the right. Lift your left foot, place it on the floor behind you so the sole of your foot is on the floor. Or I'm going to move onto the mat. Lift your chest up, look up, allow your arm to come back as far as you can. And switch through down dog and over onto the other side. Place your hand in the middle of the mat. Pivot your ankles to the left. Lift your right foot. Place it on the floor behind you. Lift your hips up. Allow your right arm to come back. Lift your chest. Inhale, come back up. And come into child's pose. Knees apart, feet together. Stretch your arms out and just sink down. Dropping into the place that is you. The only place there is to be. Inhale and come back up. And coming into twisted sage. Sit on your right hip and set up your feet so that your left foot is bisecting the sole of your right foot. Place your right hand on top of your left knee. Place your left hand on the floor behind you. Be as upright as possible. Lift your chest, stretch your spine. Look over your right shoulder. Keep drawing your left ribs back, your left shoulder back. And switch over onto the other side. Knees together onto your left hip. And place the top of your right foot so it bisects the arch of the sole of the left foot. Place your left hand on your knee, place your right hand behind you, look over your front shoulder, lift your chest, stretch your spine, be as upright as possible. Keep drawing your right shoulder back. Initiate the twist from way down in your abdominal area. And release. From here, moving into cow face pose. Cross your right knee over your left knee, and then either stay here with your legs stretched out or bend your left knee and bring your heel into your hip. So you're stacking one knee on top of the other. Heels by your hips, lift your arms up. Inhale, exhale, hinge forward and place your hands on the floor and inhale, stretching forward, exhale, creeping them forward, sinking down. Make both feet active. Press your sit bones into the floor. Inhale, stretch forward, exhale, sinking down. And walk your hands back and switch your legs. We can do a Marilyn Monroe. Oops. Left leg over right, and again your right leg can be straight underneath you or you can bend it to the side. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhaling, hinging forward, place them on the floor. Make both feet active, press your sit bones into the floor. Inhale, walk your hands forward. Exhale, sinking down. Keep pressing your sit bones into the floor. And walk your hands back up. And moving into east stretch, stretch your legs out, walk your hands back, turn your hands out 45 degrees, lift your hips up, walk your feet forward and stretch your legs. Bring your toes to the floor, bring your knees stretched from your hips to your armpits. And gently lower to the floor. And moving into staff pose, stretch both legs out, squeeze your legs together. Roll your inner thighs towards each other. Place your hands behind you in this case, turn your fingers towards your feet, walk them back a few inches, lift your chest, stretch your spine, broaden across your collarbones and look up. Gently release and coming into west stretch. Bend your knees, clasp the outside edges of your feet with your hands and then walk your feet forward. Squeeze your inner knees together, your inner shins, stretch your spine. And release. And moving into recline cow face. So we've already done it sitting up, now we're going to lie down. Cross your right thigh over your left thigh. Bring both knees into your chest. Clasp the outside edges of your feet with your hands. And just hang out here. Press your lower back into the floor. Keep both feet active. And switch to the other side. Cross your left leg over your right leg. Clasp the outside edges of both feet. Bend both knees. Make both feet active. Press your lower back into the floor. And release. And moving into bridge pose. Bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips on the floor. Make sure your toes, the root of your second toe is in line with the middle of your ankle on both feet. And then press down with your feet into the floor, walk your arms in underneath, shrug your shoulders towards each other, lift your chest, stretch your spine. And gently roll your spine down towards the floor. From here, moving into double diamond, walk your feet out to the long edges of the mat. Allow your knees to come down towards the right. Make goalposts of your arms by bending your elbows and placing the backs of your forearms, the backs of your hands on the floor. Stay here more doable, or more difficult, lift your right foot and place the outside edge of your right foot on top of your left knee, or simply stay where you are. And then finally lift your head off the floor, turn it and look away from your knees. Place it back on the floor. And release and switch over onto the other side. Allow your right knee to come down, lift your left foot, place the outside edge of it on top of your left knee, lift your head off the floor and look away from your knees. Place it back on the floor. And release yourself from this pose. Moving into thread the needle, lift your right foot, place the outside edge of it on top of your left knee. Bend your left knee, bring your left knee into your chest, slide your hands between your legs, or thread them between your legs. Make both feet active. Press your hips into the floor. Invite your shoulders onto your back, press your head into the floor. And switch over onto the other side. Right foot down, lift your left foot, and bring your right knee into your chest. And release your feet to the floor and come and sit up. Moving into reclined big toe prep. Come and lie down on your back again. Curl your right knee in, stretch your right leg up and clasp the thigh with both hands. Draw the whole leg towards you, keeping as straight as you can. Push the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling. Push through the left sole of your foot, press the back of your left thigh into the floor. Notice your breathing. And gently release and switch over onto the other side. Curl your left knee in, clasp the thigh, stretch it up. Draw the whole leg towards you, keeping it straight. Push through your heel, press through the thigh of the right leg, push through the heel of the right leg, press your lower back into the floor. And release and moving into happy baby. Bend both knees, bring your knees into your chest. Clasp the outside edges of both feet with your hands. Press your lower back into the floor. Press your head into the floor.
And then push up through your hands with your feet. And then bringing your feet together, your inner shins, your inner knees, and stretch your legs up and invite your toes to come down towards your head. Keep pushing through your heels. Press the backs of your knees up towards the ceiling. Soften your elbows. Press your lower back into the floor. And bend both knees and give yourself the most delicious, divine, loving hug. And gently rolling from side to side, and just feel what all that's arising for you now at the end of your awareness practice. And make your way back up to sitting. And in the words of Terry Patton, now is the time to be awake. So practice awake, practice being aware. Bring your hands together. And it's realizing that we are awake, we are aware all the time. We don't always have access to it. Treat it like a mantle of silence that's always there. But sometimes it just gets covered up by the veils of life. We'll close with one Om. Exhale. Inhale. Om. Thanks for practicing. Thanks for coming to practice. And see you on the mat.